through the day last night?
T will be out. Trey will be out. Taj Brooks will be out. Cam Sample and Samaje will get through the week and see where they end up. Obviously, Cam was out last game, trying to progress back. Same with Samaje. He had a good week. Feels good. We'll just take these extra couple of days, see where he ends up.
So those three out. You mean they're not playing Thursday?
Yeah.
How did T progress through? Obviously, it looked like a hard hit. How has he been over these last 24 hours?
Yeah, I don't want to speak for him. It was obviously a tough one, so it's where to land.
Are you ready for any announcement on Joe?
I anticipate him playing, but we'll continue to work through the week. I'm not going to declare that definitively. Work through the week, coming off an injury. He's done everything he could. He put himself in a position to do his best to play yesterday. And we'll continue with that mindset, but he looks like he's in good shape right now. He'd be ready to go.
Flacco active as the backup if Burrow starts.
That's how it'd go. Yep. If Joe ends up being the starter, then Joe Flacco would be the backup.
What's that like on a short week? I mean, how much did you guys bake that into the practice schedule last week, knowing it was going to be a limited week this week to get Joe those reps last week?
No, I mean, really, last week it just fell because of it was easier for us to handle because Joe Flacco has been limited in practice, and so his schedule had been conducive to Burrow coming in there and taking all the snaps. So it didn't throw anything off kilter because that had been our routine previously. He just took a bunch of reps that Jake Browning had been taking when Flacco was out. So from that perspective, it worked out well. We were able to balance that without disrupting anything, and now you'll go into these walkthrough reps, which is really what we're doing the next 2 days. So it's nothing physical, walkthrough mental reps and getting everybody ready to go play.
On yesterday's game, 4th and 1, when you go through a game like that and go through the film and everything, do you talk to your coaches about not doing that or going for it and what could have been handled differently?
Always. Yeah, always. You know, you're hard on yourself when you see the result end up being what it is. Obviously, in my mind there, we're going to punt the ball, pin them down in there, get a stop, get the ball back about the same position. Didn't work out that way. And so you just go through a process of why we do things the way we do it. And that was one that we didn't go for, and it didn't work out for us. And but we always try to rehash all this situational stuff that we can handle the same or differently as we move forward.
What did you rehash in particular about that?
You just follow your process of where you're at and why you made that decision. And so that's the decision I made.
One more injury thing. You've listed Hendrickson as out or doubtful pretty quickly over the last couple of weeks. Has he made any progress?
Still just recovering from the injury, you know, and so with the short week, I think it's easy to declare him out.
Did Yoshi come through the game okay?
He did. He'll be good to go. I know he was dinged up there for a couple of plays there in the fourth quarter, but he'll be ready to go for Thursday.
What's the energy like around when Joe is, when you know that he's going to be playing on Thursday in that kind of game, that kind of environment? What does that do for the locker room?
Well, I mean, he's a great player, obviously, and so it's exciting to have him back. I think our energy's been really good. I don't feel like that's been an issue for us, and you see the way the team fought there till the very end, trying to get stops in all three phases and score points on offense. And so these guys fought tooth and nail, played with really good energy. But obviously, when you got one of the greatest players in the world coming back, that's another boost on top of that. And so, when we do get Joe back, it'll be exciting to watch him go out there and play. And I'm sure it's energy for everybody involved.
What do you expect him to look like? First game back, hasn't played in a few months. What do you think that will look like?
Difficult to predict. It has been several months, and so again, I'm not going to make any predictions on what it looks like. But again, he's put himself in great shape. It was good to see him through the progression that we've had over the last several weeks. I think it was a fair progression for him to do the 7-on-7, do the 11-on-11, get your mind right, try to get ready to play in a game, and then ultimately we'll wait and see where it lands. But I think it's been a really good progression that's been helpful for him and done everything he can and we can to get him ready to go play in a game.
What are the discussions like regarding Jermaine Burton? Because it seems like in a game like yesterday, he would have been at least a candidate to be promoted and active for the game, in a game where you were down a receiver.
Yeah, I mean, we were down a receiver. We got Mike Gesicki back, so that's one way to look at it is we got a tight end that we felt like was a good matchup for us, and that replaced the receiver that we lost.
With Burrow, he's just so good at off-script plays. Do you try to, whenever he comes back, coach him out of that, or do you just have to let him play the way that he plays?
It's a great question. There's a balance there of obviously him coming off of injury. You want to be very mindful of that. And that, a lot of that will be up to him as he feels his pocket movement and his play style. Those are decisions that he's gonna have to feel out as he goes forward. And sure, I'd love to say, let's be productive and not put him in an environment where that's gonna happen, but you get out there in a football field and that's the way it's gonna take shape, especially on third downs, especially in known passing situations. Versus good defense, these guys will do a lot to disrupt you and throw you off course and disguise and pressure from different angles, and they got good players, and so you can't, it's the NFL, you can't go out there with kid gloves on and say, we're never gonna let this happen. Some things are gonna happen naturally, and it'll be in his hands to take care of it if he's out there.
Over the last few months in the background, have you made any tweaks, kind of the Burrow offense and the idea of how things can look when Burrow comes back, or is it just full, like normal?
Yeah, I mean, we game plan for the teams we're playing against, and so a lot of times, that's the forefront of it is how do we utilize our weapons, and how do we game plan against the team, for all the things they're showing us to keep them off kilter. So that's always what we balance, and that's what we'll continue to do as we move forward.
What have you seen in terms of improvement in the defensive line over the last couple of games? Chris Jenkins was telling us that teams, that they are playing faster, more aggressive, not thinking
Yep.
as much. Are you seeing the same thing?
I see that too, and we got a lot of young players out there that every game they're gaining more experience and they're gaining more confidence and more cohesion and understanding what we're asking them to do. And so I've certainly seen that, especially these last 2 weeks. You've seen a big step up for a lot of players, and you can feel their confidence level. And obviously, our standard as a team is not near where we want it to be. We want to be playing at a higher level in all areas, but there are some things that have been encouraging to what you mentioned from Chris, that you can feel the confidence from those guys, and they're starting to make plays and starting to believe, and we'll continue to increase that as we move forward.
If you go through yards per carry, it's the most efficient you guys have run the ball, since you've been here. Is there anything you can point to that? Any two or three elements?
I think our line's playing really well. I think they've done a great job giving us confidence there. I think Chase and Samaje and Taj have found a good rhythm behind it. Our tight ends, I think I mentioned this yesterday, we got a lot of guys on the perimeter, tight ends, receivers that have bought into and are doing their part. And, the coaches have done a good job with the scheme, putting these guys in position. Our position coaches and pitch and all those guys all week are working on that plan. And it's something our guys believe in, and so we've had some efficiency there, some explosives there, and that's really helped us.
Chase Brown seems to have developed a little bit of a hesitation or a patience. Is that something that you guys kind of coached into the scheme, or is that just a player relying on instinct?
Well, I think a little bit of both. That's, Justin Hill goes through all those runs with those guys and makes sure it paints a picture of what the expectation is and how it fits in with the scheme. And just the more reps you've gotten of it, Chase develops a rhythm on how things are going to hit, the timing of it, and the patience he can have. And but I think it really starts. I think Justin Hill does a great job of painting a picture for those guys of what the look is we expect, where we expect it to hit, the timing of when it is, and there's a lot that goes into it. And certainly hope it helps those backs, as they're getting into a rhythm.
When y'all are prepping for each season going into it, how much of the conversations all around the building are how do we, with having a guy like Burrow in mind, having that caliber of quarterback in mind, how much does that shape kind of all the decisions that get made over the course of prepping for an individual season?
I guess I don't really think of it that way, so I don't know how to answer that one.
Has Joe Burrow articulated why it's so important for him to come back, or is it just understood because it's Joe?
Yeah, that is a great question that I'd rather him answer. I think when you get an opportunity to talk to him, is he and I have had conversations on everything leading up to these weeks, and so I'll leave that to him to better answer.
Did you guys talk much when he was out? Like what were the conversations like when he was still early?
There was times I'd catch him in the weight room as he's going through his rehab progression. So I can't define a lot, but we certainly had several conversations throughout the weeks, and then he started getting back into full-blown meetings. As part where he's limited, he's in a boot, so we're not asking him to travel stairs all the time. And then when he got out of that, he became full-time back in meetings several weeks ago, and he's been back in the picture ever since. So he and I have had a lot of dialogue, especially these last probably 3 weeks, and a couple more before that when he first come off the injury.
The Baltimore Ravens, uncharacteristically, were giving up like 35 games at the beginning of the season. Now they haven't given up 20 in the last few games. What's the difference? Why is the defense playing at such a different level, do you think?
Hard for me to answer the early part in the season thing, to be truthful with you. We're 6 hours into this thing, and I'm coming backwards through it. So
Right.
But you see a team playing with a lot of confidence right now. I see a ton of veterans out there. I mean, just you list by position, the skins on the wall each of these guys have. It's really impressive. They've got great veteran leadership over there. So you see a high level of communication with those guys. And I mean, I was just looking at some of the defensive linemen that have played in this league a really long time. Roquan's played a really long time. They got a whole secondary full of guys that are really experienced and knowledgeable and understand the system. And then they got their, 2 or 3 young guys that they're bringing along at each position that, those veterans are helping bring along. So I see a high-level defense. I see a defense operating with a lot of confidence that's on the same page and making it really difficult, especially these last 5-6 games, for some of the opponents they faced. And can't speak yet to what may have happened early in the season for them.
Brought up, their defense playing with a lot of confidence lately. And then, your defense the last 2 weeks playing a whole lot better, especially yesterday. How far does that, confidence go mentally for a defensive player or for a defensive unit to turn things around?
Yeah, I think it's anything. Once you achieve something and you accomplish something and you start to gain confidence and then you repeat it over and over again, and that's really helpful in any player's career and the cohesiveness of a unit. And so again, something we got to continue to build on. Those goal line stands that we had yesterday, those 10 plays that we had down there, that builds confidence. We put a lot of work into that, and for it to pay off and keep points off the board gave our team a lot of confidence. And offensively, we weren't able to go score, but we were able to get from the -2 to the 40 and try to flip the field a little bit. So I think as a team, that was a moment that gave us a lot of confidence, that made us believe we were going to go win the game after that stop, and it didn't work out for us. But there's certainly a lot of positives to continue to build off of over there on defense.
Feels like in a lot of the defense's best moments or games this season, there have been impact plays from the safeties. Yesterday was Gino.
Yeah.
What difference does it make when you get that type of playmaking from your safeties?
Well, it's should be a game changer. Anytime you get a pick six like that, and we've been trying to speak it into existence for a long time. It's happening in practice. We show it. We harp on it. So to have that moment was big for us. It would just continue to build off it. And we're always talking +2 in the turnover battle, and so we didn't finish +2 as a team. We were 1 for 1 there, and that got us. But we'll keep fighting for it and keep finding a way, and that's going to lead us to some wins.
You said yesterday that Flacco played well enough for y'all to win games. It was not the reason why you lost as many.
Right.
When you look at kind of maybe what didn't go right over the last stretch while he was a starter, is there a commonality or things that you wish that things would have went better while he played the way he did?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's several games I wish we would have finished, as a team. You can look at 2 back-to-back where we were just somebody on some phase making one play would have ended the game and didn't get it done.
With Jamar back in the building today, is it business as usual? Were there conversations? Was there contrition on his part? How did today go?
Seen him briefly, and we're moving full speed ahead.
Good.
Thank you.